So this is where my conversation with Theft King starts. I'm asking him if we can get in contact via Discord because I'm planning to make a final video to cap off the situation with Enchanted Mob and Necro Coaster. And I just asked him for some info on what he got from the interview with Zach B. That way I could start scripting. And I apologize if I was bothering him, and he says that I'm probably just good going by what Zach told Project Underwater, and there's nothing really in the interview that's new that I need to put in my video. And then I say, okay, and then I watch his video, the one with the interview with Zach, and I congratulate him because I thought the video was good. And I say that Project Underwater, my collaborators and I, we did notice some bad comments that were like basically saying Theft didn't understand the situation, was just like flip-flopping for money, stuff like that. So I let him know. And then down there, there was like a Twitter confrontation where like people were asking Theft why he wasn't able to share a transcript of the interview, which definitely would have been helpful. So I asked him in DMs. I went to his DMs and asked him why he didn't share the transcript, and I offered to vouch for him. I offer for him to defend himself in my DMs because I'm warning him here that there's people on his back over this, people who are accusing him of like being bribed or threatened, crazy stuff like that, which I didn't believe, but I was warning him, and I was giving him the chance to defend himself in my DMs so I could vouch for him because I was gonna cover that in my video. And Theft agrees. He says he'll show me proof that he didn't get bribed. And I ask him again, why aren't you allowed to release the transcript? And I asked if there was a formal contract signed, or if he just chose not to do it. And Theft says he just chose not to do it. And I tell him, people will continue to be suspicious if you aren't transparent. And Theft basically says he doesn't really care if people are suspicious of him because the video was well received. And I ask him, can you send some screenshots, because then I and the rest of Project Underwater would be able to vouch for you. And then Theft agrees, and he sends me some screenshots. So this first screenshot has him and Dags talking, and you see, he didn't even want to do this video, apparently, and Dags convinced him to do it, so that's how he got into that interview with Zach Bell. And I tell him the main thing people are suspicious about is that he got a free copy of Poppy Playtime from Zach alongside the interview, because people thought that he was bribed by the key, which I still think is ridiculous. So this is a picture, I believe, of Theft King and Zach talking about the interview before it actually starts. And Zach is like, yeah, Zach is understandably asking, like, is this going to be all this posted? And yeah, that they're just like kind of working out the interview from there. And so I can agree that with Theft in this situation, because I did at the time, I agreed with him. It's ridiculous to think that he was bribed by like a free Chapter 2 key for Poppy Playtime that was worth $10. And this is basically him explaining how he got the Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 key, and he was basically making a joke. He was really just making a joke, and then Zach took it seriously. So if we go backwards in time, there's some earlier screenshots. And yeah, anyone who thinks I was bribed by a $10 game is an idiot. It's a 5-figure number, the revenue he's making on his channel, which I believe because he's getting hundreds of thousands of views. Nobody's taking these claims seriously. And I say, yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to look out for you. And I want my viewers to know the truth, and I want to be transparent with them as best I can. And then I say I'm going to present the information I have and tell them to make of it what they will, and most people will not think of you negatively, most likely. And then like, this is another context screenshot. Yeah, so this is his further explanation of like his conversation with Zach, and getting the key. And he said it as a joke, and Zach actually apparently agreed to it. That's basically the long and short of it. So this is the full video that explains all of the context. So you can pause and read over this. So this is like him. He took this and sent it to me, and that's basically like, yeah. So he says that he can play the game with the free key because that's the only way he can do it, because he said he wouldn't buy the game again, which is a very interesting loophole indeed. And then so this is where the conversation I think gets weird, because this conversation was fine up until now. I was just asking Theft to defend himself, and he was doing that. Now, at this point, Theft tries to dissuade me from making my video in the first place, even though it's a vital video. Like, it has new information that would be very important for my audience to hear, as well as past corrections of misinformation I'd spread in the past. And I initially think that he thinks, like, I remember having this conversation with Theft, and I initially thought maybe he thinks I'm going to accuse him of being bribed or something, or that I'm going to make it out that it was possible he would be bribed. And I say, I'm not going to accuse you of anything, and I offer to send him the script just so he can make sure he's not being accused of anything. Now, of course, I wasn't going to accuse him of anything. I personally thought that the rumors about him being bribed or threatened were nonsense, and I was going to say that in the video. And then Theft says that he just has a hunch it won't be received well. He then says, after I offer to send him the script, he says, I don't care what's in your video. Keep that in mind. And then he says, let me take a step back. Before I say I suggest you reconsider, what do you think your video is adding to the conversation? Interesting how he says this, because up here, he already says, I strongly suggest you reconsider making a video on this. Down here, he's saying, before I say I suggest you reconsider, which he already said. So where's the before coming from? I just found it a little weird how he said that. And I say, yeah, I have to make a video one way or another. It doesn't have to cover anything regarding you, but either way, there is new information my audience has to be made aware of. And he asks me what that new information is, and also what the goal of the group you're in is, the group I'm in, which is Project Underwater. Now, he says, I don't care what's in your video up here, okay? And then he asks me what the information I'm delivering in my video is. So it seems to me like he actually does care in this conversation, and he actually did care what I was going to present in my video, even though he says he didn't. Now, I want to interpret this in good faith as best as I can. It's possible that Theft was just trying to be polite to me, and he backtracked, because, yeah, he was curious, but he didn't actually, care that much. But I don't know, it just felt extremely weird. I felt kind of uncomfortable being interrogated by this guy. I explain the information that I'm putting in the video, clarifying that Mob did try to apologize to Coaster, but Coaster was in a hectic situation at the time and never found out about it, because I'd misinformed my audience in my first video, saying that there was never an attempt to apologize to him, and it was missing context, so I was going to clarify that. And of course, there was new information that Zach gave to Project Underwater that I was going to have in my video, and that's something both sides have agreed on, so it's not up for dispute. And then I explain what Project Underwater is. It's a research group who looks over information, judges it, and then communicates it. And then he says, what's the goal of the project regarding the situation with Mob? Theft asks, what situation? Now, I don't believe he doesn't know what situation I'm talking about, because we're both talking about it in this conversation. Like, it's relevant to the conversation. I don't know what other information with Mob he possibly thinks. I don't know what other situation with Mob he possibly thinks I could have been talking about. Now, that's just a bit of a baffling comment to me. We simply wanted to get the truth out about the bad things they did. And then he asks specifically, and at the time there was a little conversation about it, which was true. And he says, so Ector Coaster and Andy BTTF and many others were mistreated, which is covered. Now, the thing is, and I ask him if he's seen his first video, and I explain that I claim Coaster never received an apology and that Zach has shown no signs of remorse, which is false. That is information I feel obligated to correct, and that's what I told him. And then we have a conversation about what exactly happened and all the miscommunications in the situation. Like, Coaster didn't get any DMs because, yeah. And then I told him that he admitted that he probably did receive an apology from Mob at some point. This is all, like, this is all stuff to do with the situation. It's not really relevant here. And then I clarify some things with him, and then Zach B told us the last time he spoke with Ethan directly told him he wanted to be left alone. Ergo, Zach B never tried to apologize because he figured wouldn't want to, etc., etc., etc. And then, yep. And then I tell him, yeah, anyway, I am making a video, but if you're so concerned, I'd be glad to send you the script and having it proofread by as many people as possible. And then he says, I don't care what's in it, it's your video, I wouldn't let you tell me what I should put in mine, or let you see it at all, probably. Now, again, he says that he doesn't care what's in my video, but he was very interrogative about it before. So I'm getting very mixed messages here from this guy. In this conversation, I really don't understand what he's getting at. And again, it could just be him trying to be polite, him being curious, and then backing off because he realizes I'm feeling uncomfortable. I just don't know. Like, it's a very weird interaction. And he says it might not get the reception you expect. Everyone's pretty sick of this. Now, he was right because that video did underperform quite badly. Yeah, and then I just explained, I just want to lay out the facts and let the viewers decide whether they want to support Mob or not. So he wishes me luck, and then I get going because it's 12 a.m. I had to go to sleep. And then I think the day later, well, technically, not the day later because that was at 12:19, so it was part of the same day, but that's pedantic. So the day later, at about 8 p.m., I tell him I'm not going to cover the allegations that theft was bribed or threatened in my video because there's no point in giving credence to those because they're so, ridiculous. So I eventually agree. This is just completely unrelated. It's me asking about him, making streams with Dags and if I could join at one point. Completely unrelated to this topic. So I explained to him that I'm not going to mention him in the video. Well, I did, but I'm not going to mention, his controversy in the video. And he appreciates that, and then that's the end. So, all in all, a pretty weird conversation with him. I don't really know if he, he tried to dissuade me from making my video, even though it was a very important video that I had to make. And I promised him, and I was very clear that I wasn't going to accuse him of anything. It just comes off very weird. And him, telling me he doesn't care about what's in it, but then asking what's in it, asking the information asking about, the information I'm portraying, all that stuff just feels extremely odd to me. In retrospect, it just feels like a very, very weird conversation, and I remember not being very comfortable in that conversation. Because I was trying to go to bed after Theft successfully defended himself and sent me those screenshots. I was planning on going to bed, and then he started asking me a bunch of questions, and then the conversation just kept going. It was a very, very weird interaction. And I think it makes all the more sense considering, other people's interactions about Theft King that are coming out now. So I just thought that I would share that. I hope it wasn't too annoying, because, I know I can drone on for a long time and, not really get to the point, but I really tried to get to the point this time. So with that being said, obviously, let's get back to the video.